What you need to do when you get in your car is you need to position yourself so that you are ready to drive. So you're going to go through this pre-drive protocol. Now your positioning in your car is a lot more important than you think. You get 3 seconds to be in a wreck. 3, beginning to end. That's all it takes. That's not a lot of time. 3 seconds is all you get. It seems like an eternity when you're in a wreck because it goes in slow motion, but it's 3 seconds from beginning to end. Fractions of a second make a difference for you. That's why having good hand-eye coordination makes a difference. A lot of times young people can compensate for some of their inexperience by their quickness. You know what I'm saying? But you want to be able to position yourself in a proper position because you can cut down on fractions of a second, especially in your stopping distance, by how you are handling your car and how you are positioned in your car. When you get in your car, you want to go through a procedure and establish a procedure now because you'll be doing it that way the rest of your life. Get in your car, put your key in the ignition or on top of the dash. Some people like to do that. I always put mine in the ignition. Adjust your mirrors, adjust your seats, and buckle up. Adjust your all of your air conditioning and all of those things that you want, and your radio. Before you even get started, have all of those things adjusted, okay? Get in the habit of doing that so you're not driving down the road trying to adjust everything. And if you'll come forward, I'm going to show you how to sit in your seat and adjust your seat. When you are sitting in your seat, the way you want to adjust it, let me find my steering wheel. Here you are. You want to be sitting so that you can take your wrist and put it comfortably over with a slight bend in your elbow, okay? That's the distance that you want to be. Now you always want to be at least 12 to 15 inches back. If you're a really small person and that steering wheel is right on top of you, you need to get pedal extenders. You can buy them online, or many cars. One of my cars used to have a button that I would push and the pedals would come closer. Those are safety devices. That's because of the airbag. We'll talk about that later. You want to put your hands when you're driving at 9 and 3 or 8 and 4, which is down here, and that's a comfortable position for you because you're leaning back in your seat, right? Not with your head on the headrest, but you're leaning back and you're comfortable and you're balanced. Your right foot is going to be on the floor underneath your brake. So you want to adjust your seat, the bottom part of your seat, so that your right foot is positioned under your brake and can go from the accelerator to the brake without lifting your foot off the floor. When you have to lift your foot off the floor and come back down, it adds fractions of a second. You got 3 seconds. It makes a difference. Your left foot should be on the dead pedal. Now the dead pedal is that thing that looks like the accelerator, but it's floorboard underneath. That gives you a balanced seat in your seat, okay? That balances your body. Your head restraint is going to be raised or lowered to where the top of the head restraint comes at the top of your ears. Now your head does not lean on your head restraint. It's not your headrest. It's your head restraint. If you were to get hit from the rear, that head restraint would keep you from getting whiplash. That's what it's for, is to protect you. So here you are, okay? The next thing you want to do is adjust your mirrors. You're going to, without changing your position, you're going to take your rear view mirror and you're going to take the right corner, the right top corner of your rear view mirror and line it up with the right top corner of your back window, seeing the whole back window. Then when you do your left mirror, you're going to lean over slightly, like this is your window. You're going to lean over slightly and adjust your side view mirror. Now your side view mirror, when you adjust it at that degree, you're going to basically see just a tiny part of your back door handle. The rest of your side view mirror, you're going to be looking at the lane beside you. Then you would lean over to this side of the car and you're going to adjust this mirror the same way. That's what you call the BGE setting. Thank you, honey. I'll take this. After you do your side view mirrors, you want to adjust your ventilation and your radio. You don't want to be going down the road adjusting things. Have all that taken care of so you're not distracted. Secure any loose objects in your car. Anything loose in your car becomes a projectile when you have an accident. If you get hit in the back of in the head with a 40-pound cooler going 20 miles an hour, that's going to be an impact of 800 pounds. It's a lot. Buckle your coolers in if they're right behind you. Be sure everyone in your car is buckled in. Very important for your safety. Fasten your seatbelt and start your car. Now, when you start your car, your ignition, you're going to go all the way around, and we're going to talk about what your lights are going to look like on your dash. Put your car in gear and then release the parking brake. A lot of people do that backwards to where they release the parking brake and then they put it in gear. But you should put your car in gear first, then release the parking brake. When you are adjusting your steering wheel, you want to be back at least 10 to 12 inches, but you also want to take that steering wheel and you want to point it at your chest. Do not have it pointing at your face. If that airbag deploys, it can snap your neck or injure you. Be sure also that you have your thumbs to the outside. I had a woman in my class who had both her thumbs dislocated when the airbag deployed. The airbag is going to come out in 1/25th of a second at 200 miles an hour. You do not want to have your hands up here. It is not a balloon. That airbag is powerful enough that it can keep a large person pinned to their seat at a fast speed. Now the force of impact of an object in your car is the size of the object times the speed of the vehicle. So you get a 200-pound man and you're going 50 miles an hour, that is the force of 1,000 pounds. That airbag is powerful enough to keep him in his seat. What it does is it pushes you back and then it immediately deflates. But if it did not deflate, you wouldn't be able to get out of your car. It would have you pinned. So you want to be to where your arms are out of the way, your thumbs are out of the way, your face is out of the way. If you're holding your car like this or like this and that airbag deploys, remember, 1/25th of a second, there's no time to get out of the way. You can injure your arms or break your face with your arms. A lot of times people in wrecks, they will save your life, but they can also be what injures you. Now they are working on developing advanced airbags, and some cars already have them. Advanced airbags actually weigh the size of the person in the seat, and they deploy with less force to reduce the injuries from the airbags. And in mentioning that, I do want to say that if your airbag light comes on and stays on, your airbag is faulty. And right now there are some airbag recalls going on. If you get an airbag recall in the mail, do not ignore it. It is very important for you to have your airbag functioning correctly. I want to talk to you about smooth braking and smooth acceleration. Okay. If you've got your feet in the proper position to where you can go from the accelerator to the brake without lifting your foot off the floor, are you all sitting like that? You've got that down? If you're finding that when you take off you've got that jerk, what you need to do is you've got too much of your foot on the pedal. You need to move the heel of your foot back a half an inch or an inch until you are operating the accelerator with the ball of your foot and your toes, okay? That's how you get that smooth acceleration. Also, you want to have a kinesthetic sense. When you are going uphill, realize that gravity's pulling you down. You have to accelerate a little bit better, right? Practice controlling your car with acceleration. Easing up when you're going downhill, easing up as you come around a curve. Try to learn how to do that, and also by covering the brake. Not hitting the brake, but covering the brake. Learn to use your foot to cover the brake and accelerate or decelerate at the right time. Now your proper hand positioning is going to be 9 and 3, think of a clock, or 8 and 4, which is down below, okay? You're going to have your thumbs on the outside and your hands on the outside of the wheel. You do not want your hands to be in the wheel. You want them to be on the outside. That is because of the airbag. I had a woman in one of my classes dislocated both her thumbs when the airbag deployed. You want to keep your thumbs on the outside of the steering wheel. When you are at 9 and 3, there's several positions, different ways that you can steer, okay? Look at me. You can go hand to hand, where you take the wheel and you put it all the way over like this, yeah. Then you put this hand back, that's called hand to hand. Keeping your hand at 9 and 3, that's called hand to hand, okay? You can use that. It's not what I prefer. I prefer what they call push-pull-slide, which I'm going to show you. You can do hand over hand, where this hand goes over and like this. You know, think about when you're getting in a parking spot and your hand is going to go all the way, this hand's going to come over that one. You see what I'm saying? In a severe turn. And you're not going to use that one very often, but there will be times like in parking and tight spots you'll use that one. But the best hand position steering technique is when you, in my opinion, is when you use what they call push-pull-slide. In push-pull-slide, your hands are down here at 8 and 4. Your left hand will go from 8 to 10, and your right hand will be steady, right? It will never go above 2 or below 4. So what you're doing is pushing the wheel. Yes. Only this hand will not go above here. Try it again. So yeah, like that. Okay. The slide part comes in. If you notice how when you're doing that, your hands stay on both sides of the wheel. This is to your advantage in a lot of different reasons. For one thing, you have a good grip on the wheel. Okay, you're still in a balanced position. It's smooth. If you run into a pothole in the middle of the turn, you've still got a grip on the wheel. Okay. The other thing about always having your hands in this position is evasive steering. If you were to suddenly have to steer, this position stops you, the crossover keeps you from oversteer. Okay, you have good control of the wheel, and the crossover keeps you from steering too hard. Okay. If you were to, say you were, just hold on just one second. Say you were to take an evasive steering technique, which they do in some classes, or sometimes people will come in and they'll give you this technique. They would have you go 35 to 40 miles an hour through these cones, and when you got to a place about right here, they would say left or right. You'd have a radio in your ear, and you would have to steer left or steer right. With your hands in that position, it keeps you from oversteer. See what I'm saying? Because of the crossover. You would have to steer this way and then come around and come back through the cones. That's called evasive steering. But in a situation, an emergency situation, the guy in front of you is suddenly slammed on his brakes. You've got a good grip on the wheel. You can steer without oversteer. Okay? Now it's called, the position or the technique is called push-pull-slide. The slide part comes in when you come around the corner. So here you are, you're going push, and you're going right. When you get in this position, you're making a right-hand turn. We talked about right-hand turns. When you get in this position right here, you're going to release the wheel, and I don't mean release the wheel, but I mean loosen your grip on the wheel and accelerate at the same time. When you accelerate, your wheels straighten up, and the steering wheel will slide through your hands. Okay, that's called push, pull, slide. Now you want to, at this point, accelerate back up to speed. That way you've never taken your hands off of the 8 and 3 or the 8 and 4 or 9 and 3 position. See that? That's the best way to do it. Who's doing that? Are y'all driving that way?
I mean, I've only done behind the wheel once, but.
Oh, you have? What about you? Are you driving? Now you're driving a stick, right?
Yeah.
Okay, with a stick, do not 12 o'clock. Do it here. There's only one time you're going to be in the 12 o'clock position, and that is when you are backing up. At backing up, you put your left hand at 12 o'clock, your right hand goes behind the seat beside you like this, right? And your left foot goes on the dead pedal. Remember the dead pedal right there? That way you can look back and push yourself up in the seat so that you can see. You have good control there. But when you are backing to the left, you're going to look to the left with your hands in this position. When you're backing to the right, you're going to look to the right with your hands in this position. So as a person that's driving a stick, you should have your hand here, not here. Are you doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Matthew. You're great.